Last week, we seen a lot of profit taken in the stock market overall, especially in crypto and other sectors like that. Gold, staples, and stuff like that was doing pretty decent. But one thing overall was healthcare, and honestly, it was spiking up a decent amount. But yesterday's video kind of explained a little bit more on how these sectors really reacted and how we got that big green on Friday. Jerome kind of came in, saved the day, but kinda semi. More on that on yesterday's video if you guys are interested in what's going on with the stock market. But in this video, I want to talk about some of the stocks that I'm personally watching, give you guys those supports and resistance, and get ready for the week that we have. Let's stay green and let's look at some stocks. With that being said, one of the biggest movers that I've seen in one of our penny stocks that we be talking about so much is ATAI. We seen it finally make another breakout, and we're going up and we're continuing to the upside. The level that I was watching personally was at 4.5. And if we can stay above that 4.5 next week, I think it'll be a good buy zone to go up even more. We have a lot of price targets like 15, 16, $12. And honestly, that's still a 2x return if you guys get in now. We personally got in at that 2.6 level. And honestly, man, benefited a decent amount. I'm hoping that this stock can continue upwards. And if we do break below that 4.5 level, I might sell my additional shares. So ATI is one that I'm personally watching this week, either to load up and or sell out on what I have so far, and maybe just wait, have a little bit more patience, and reposition myself for the future. Next one, of course, is going to be Robinhood, and really it just determines on how crypto in general does, because this one benefits off of crypto. It's kind of like MSTR, you know. Basically, it benefits off the transactions because they do have a big holding in crypto too, and people buy crypto on their platform. And honestly, Robinhood is just a great app. I personally use it every day. I feel like it's a Gen Z trading platform, but I see a lot of people using this one. This one is like the basic platform that everybody uses to trade, and they be asking me about Robinhood. But with that being said, man, they do have sports betting coming out soon. And as you guys know, sports season is about to take over. So with the sports season and stuff like that, I think Robinhood is still a great one to have on your long term. I personally have it at like $40. So I honestly love Robinhood, up almost or up over 100% on my return. And I'm holding this one for the long term. Honestly, I don't think Robinhood is going anywhere anytime soon unless we get like a really, really bad news headline. But with that being said, I'm going to be watching Robinhood, maybe even to load up some more and or some short-term trading. This one does move pretty slow, but honestly, we've been moving in an upward trend. And if we could finally break past like 117 to 117.5, we could probably see like 120 to 125 for those short-term plays. But if we do itch up to that 117, don't break it, and we see a little bit of a sell-off going on, you could probably sell it off until like 109 to that 107 level just to be a little bit more safer. But Robinhood is one that I'm personally watching in the short term and in the long term. Next is going to be Nvidia. This one I probably include in every single one of my videos. It's one of my favorite day trade stocks. This and Apple, which is going to be coming up next. But we do have earnings on Wednesday, and honestly, the earnings can determine a lot overall because honestly, man, this is 8% of the S&P 500, so you guys can be trading that S&P 500 also. And this is going to be moving a lot of other stocks, even especially the Magnificent Seven has a lot of those AI. It's going to be moving AI stocks, chip stocks, stuff like that. So keep that in mind overall. I think big stocks like AMD, Broadcom, TSM, stuff like that is going to be moving, and we're probably going to see some AI stocks move as well, especially if we get green with NVIDIA. But honestly, I'm not even going to lie. I'm not banking against it, but I feel like earnings for NVIDIA is going to be 50-50 because even if they beat expectations, people might not like something that gets like said in the earnings call or something like that, and or just a certain number that doesn't sit right, and you can see a big sell-off. And I'm kind of hoping on another sell-off so that I can reposition another long-term trade. And also keep in mind that September is relatively bearish, and honestly, that sell-off that we just seen wasn't even what we might even see in September. We might see an even bigger sell-off, maybe past that 170, maybe to like 160. But overall, right now, man, I'm pretty bullish on Nvidia. And honestly, everybody else is kind of just like a hype stock right now. And honestly, the market cap is kind of insane. So with that being said, I am going to be watching the video up and down, but just determining on where it goes because we might see some profit taking in anticipation to the earnings. Next one is going to be Apple. We're getting bullish and bearish headlines with Apple overall, but the newest one was Google and their Gemini. Apple wants Gemini in their Siri, and honestly, that can be a big move because a lot of investors, they even got sued for not having the AI capabilities that they promised in the newest iPhone 16. And now we're on to the 17. So honestly, next month we will be seeing more on the new products and stuff like that. And if they can do something big, I feel like that Apple can itch up a little bit higher in September. With that all being said, man, keep in mind that if the Gemini deal doesn't work out, investors might get a little bit more sad and then make the stock a little bit more bearish. And if we've seen like other stocks, this one didn't really recap all of its earnings yet or all of its losses yet. But with that being said, this Gemini thing can probably potentially bring it up to like 230 to 240 if we see an actual deal go on. But I feel like it's going to take a while to see it in the new phone. I don't think it's going to be in the iPhone 17, but you never know. With that all being said, though, I am watching Apple to the upside for now, but we are getting some bearish also. Basically, Warren Buffett, this is one of his biggest holdings, but he has been selling off Apple a decent amount. I mean, honestly, at this level, I feel like it's a good level to take some profit, especially if you got it where I got it. I personally have this at the average of $200, and I think this is a good take profit zone. But I think Apple does have some upside as well. But with that being said, with September coming in, man, I think a lot of take profiting might happen, but I'm hoping that Apple can at least hit that 234 once again. So I am going to be personally watching this one in the short term, and especially if we get another sell-off, especially past that 224.5, I think we can look a little bit more bearish overall for Apple. But I'm going to be watching this one a little bit stronger. I'm going to be giving you guys some better supports and resistance on Monday, right before market opens, and give you guys some of the plays that I'm watching to buy calls and puts, just so you guys can get the edge on the overall stock market. But with that being said, I'm going to wait until the market actually opens up, the market opens up before we get to that, because we don't know where it's going to open. I feel like if we gap upwards on the market overall, we might be bullish, but if we gap downwards, we might be a little bit bearish, but then we might fill the gap back up later on when the market opens. So honestly, it's all about patience here. Next one is going to be Palantir. Honestly, Palantir, I'm 50-50 on right now. I am still pretty bullish, and I think a lot of other people are pretty bullish, and they think that Palantir can potentially hit 200 to 250, but the overall, like how much Palantir is really worth, I think it came out to be like $30-$40, which is kind of insane. So it did make it look pretty bearish. It sold off before the sell-off even started, and then when that big sell-off started, we seen Palantir make some big moves. With that being said, we did make some big moves. So honestly, I think on one day we sold off $10 and we came back like $15, which is insane. And honestly, I haven't really been watching Palantir myself, and I was hoping on playing a put option, but now we might be able to itch up higher and or sell off some more. So with that being said, we can potentially see some $10 moves with Palantir and potentially make maybe even like 2 to 3x on our trades. So this is one stock that I'm personally watching. I'm not here to give you guys FOMO on it, but if you guys do see it start itching down lower once again, we could potentially see even bigger moves to the downside, especially September coming up. I think Palantir is going to be that good short stock that you would want to short. Last but not least, I'm personally watching Ethereum in general, just because, man, we're so close to that $5,000 level. And if we could break that $5,000 level, I think we could look even more bullish overall for Ethereum. But Bitcoin, as we know, Bitcoin isn't really moving as strong as it used to be. XRP is kind of moving with Bitcoin, so it's not really moving as strong. But right now, we see Ethereum moving pretty strong to the upside. And right now, it is basically the seasonality for Ethereum. So ETHA is going to be a ETF that moves with Ethereum. So if you guys want to play some option plays on this, especially if we see some more bullish momentum, ETHA is a great one to watch. And this one is going to be one that I'm watching this week as well with Ethereum. So honestly, man, keep this on your mind and on your radar. I'm not saying to trade it, but I'm saying to watch it at least the minimum, because you might be able to get some good plays out of this. But some other things to watch, of course, is going to be the S&P 500 or the SPY, the ETF that moves with the S&P 500. And honestly, man, Spider is looking pretty good so far. And if we can keep on itching up higher, we can get some new highs and maybe even get to 650. But honestly, man, this one is one that you can also short as well if the stock market doesn't look too good, especially if we see some profit taken in NVIDIA in anticipation to their earnings. You could potentially see the spider go down too. And especially if other stocks start selling off, this one is a great one to watch. I personally didn't trade it last week, but I know a lot of people that did, and they made a decent amount of money. You could play it both ways last week, but honestly, man, if we do get another sell-off like back to back, this one can be a great one to have some longer term option plays. The only problem is that a lot of people get zero DTEs, and that's how you get shot. But I personally try to get like a week or two out, especially for the spider, just to give me some more time to get some profits. And honestly, it's relatively profitable. Next one, of course, is going to be AMD. AMD can indeed move with the NVIDIA's earnings as well, but it basically moves kind of with NVIDIA, but NVIDIA kind of just moves a little bit stronger. AMD is kind of there, but kind of not. But with that being said, man, I'm going to be watching AMD too for NVIDIA's earnings and just see how the chip stock moves in general. So you can watch AMD and AVGO, which is Broadcom. You can watch both of these stocks for NVIDIA and chip stocks in general. Another one that I'm personally watching is Intel, and Intel has been moving very, very volatile the past couple of days. And with that being said, if you could find it in this range that it's moving in, maybe get it down at like that $23 level, get a call option, and then just wait for some news to hit. It normally spikes back up to that 25. I've been making a decent amount of money on call options with Intel, just because like every time it would have a big buy and then it'll sell off like the next day, and then literally like a couple days later it's going to spike back up. So if you get 2 weeks out for this call option, it should be able to hit. But I think Intel might be getting washed soon. So honestly, man, just wait until it's not volatile. But you can rinse and repeat these plays, and these are some plays that I was playing last week that made me a decent amount of money. So I do recommend watching Intel, especially with the news that we're getting. We see it have a big green, see it have a big red, big green, big red. So you can play it both ways, but I just been playing call options in case we do break a big range, maybe even that $30 level. Maybe a lot more people are getting into it, and or if we just spike a decent amount, that could be a good level to watch. But I think the next one is going to be that $29 or $28 level. And honestly, if we could break past that, we could probably get that $30 level overall. But I'm going to be watching Intel overall for next week. But with that being said, man, thank you for watching the video. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new. Stay tuned for the video tomorrow. I'm going to be giving you guys some more direct plays. I just want to see where the market opens up for this week. We didn't really get any like horrible news over the weekend, but we have been getting some people trying to pump certain stocks and kind of dump certain stocks as well on the news headlines. Follow me on X if you guys want some up to date, and I'm going to update you guys with some plays there too. So see you guys in the next one. Let's stay green for next week, and peace out.